Good evening, and I am going to start the meeting by doing a share screen. So one moment while I get my presentation started. Okay, Teresa, could you tell me if this slide is showing, please?
Yes, it is.
Great, thank you. Good evening and welcome to today's public meeting to discuss the Town of Hilton Head Islands Community Development Block Grant, also known as CDBG, for our annual action plan for the 2022-2023 program year. My name is Marcy Benson and I am the Senior Grants Administrator for the town. Welcome. During today's meeting, there will be a brief overview of the CDBG entitlement program, and I will describe the purpose of the annual action plan, announce the anticipated 2022 CDBG allocation amount the town will receive, and discuss the proposed use of the 2022 CDBG funds and the next steps in the annual action plan process. The CDBG entitlement program is a federal grant program administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD, and it provides annual grants on a formula basis to entitled cities and counties based on population data from the U.S. Census Bureau. The 2022 CDBG allocation has not yet been announced by HUD. However, last year's allocation was $232,000, approximately $232,000. We anticipate an allocation of approximately $200,000 again in program year 2022. And the annual amount of CDBG funding fluctuates each year of program participation. The funds are to be used to benefit low and moderate income persons based on HUD guidelines and US Census data. The next annual action plan, which covers the 2022 through 2023 period, is due to HUD by May 16th of this year. And today's meeting is to solicit input on the development of the town's next annual action plan. So HUD defines low and moderate income households as those that are earning annual income less than 80% of the area median income. The number of people in the household is also considered in this calculation. So the low income households are defined as those earning equal to or less than 50% of the area median income, and moderate income households are defined as those earning equal to or less than 80% of the area median income. So this slide shows a table of fiscal year 2021 income limits for Beaufort County, and that is the most current year of information available to us. The Beaufort County median income is $76,000. So in the example illustrated in the highlighted yellow column, a low-income family of 4 must have a combined annual income of of $38,750 or less. A moderate income family of 4 must have a combined annual income of $62,000 or less. If a household has fewer people, the income limit is lower. And if a household has more people, the income limit is higher. This map illustrates areas where CDBG funded projects can be carried out to benefit a large percentage of low and moderate income residents based on Census Bureau statistics. The town has 8 low and moderate income census blocks within 3 census tracts. The annual action plan provides a summary to HUD of actions, activities, and federal and non-federal resources to be used to address the town's priority needs and goals. This action plan is the one-year plan for 2022 that is based on the town's consolidated plan that spans 2020 through 2024, which HUD approved in 2020. The annual action plan will list the CDBG allocation amount for program year 2022 once the notice from HUD is issued. Funds are to be issued or to be used for improving housing or public facilities or infrastructure and the quality of life for low and moderate income citizens. This table shows the projects listed in the town's 5-year consolidated plan, which were selected for CDBG funding. And the red arrows on the table mark program year 3, which is 2022. Here we can see some information from the previous slide for just program year 3. The project listed for funding could be for public facilities and improvements, or housing activities, or economic development initiatives, or public services in LMI neighborhoods, or for organizations with LMI clientele. This broad project category allows for flexibility when selecting a specific project for each year within the 5-year consolidated plan. So this slide lists the projects that the town has supported with CDBG funds since becoming an entitlement community in 2015. There's been 2 dirt road paving projects in LMI census tracts that was completed using approximately $398,000. 2 playground installation projects were completed in LMI census tracts using approximately $189,000. There was 1 recreation facility parking expansion project in an LMI census tract that was completed using approximately $73,000. 1 pavilion construction project serving a recreation and education facility with predominantly LMI clientele was completed using $200,000 in CDBG funds. Also, 15 public services organizations received approximately $730,000 of the 2020 HUD allocation in CDBG and special CDBG COVID funds. These funds assisted low and moderate income residents of Hilton Head with relief in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And lastly, there's one park project that is currently moving through the construction process, and that is in a LMI census tract, and we'll be using approximately $351,000 in CDBG funds for that project. This chart shows the CDBG allocation percentages based on a $200,000 allocation. Program administration has a 20% cap, and that means no more than $40,000 could be used on administrative costs. In past years, the administrative costs have accounted for between 2 and 5% of our total CDBG allocation. Public services have a 15% cap, and that means no more than 30% can be spent, or excuse me, no more than $30,000 could be spent on public services, and the service must be new. The remaining $130,000 could be allocated to CDBG funded projects. However, if the administrative costs are less than 20% and public services are less than 15%, this would allow for an increase in the funds allocated to the project. Staff is also recommending that an unused portion of the 2019 CDBG allocation be moved into this 2022 annual action plan for use on the proposed project. That amount is approximately $32,000. Based on staff consultations, a public improvement project is recommended for the 2022 annual action plan. A neighborhood park at the town-owned Taylor Family Park property is a staff recommendation to use for the 2022 CDBG funds. There is a deed restriction on this property stating its use must be used as a park, and then this project would also benefit the low and moderate income neighborhood surrounding the property, which is located on Wild Horse Road. The town is now accepting comments on needs and funding priorities through the open town hall portal for consideration in the CDBG program 2022 annual action plan. In the portal, you'll be asked to rank project categories from highest to lowest priority. You can tell us specific project recommendations in your 3 highest ranking categories, and you can also tell us how you would select the ranking order you choose, as well as how you would allocate $200,000 in any of the project categories. To help with your selections, you'll find examples of the types of project categories listed on this slide in the Open Town Hall portal. But I'm going to mention just a few of these examples now. Examples of public improvements would include streets, sidewalks, water and sewer infrastructure, parks, or drainage improvements. Examples of public facilities include neighborhood or community facilities or facilities for persons with special needs. Examples of housing activities include rehabilitation of owner-occupied homes such as energy improvements, water and sewer efficiency improvements, or lead-based paint testing and abatement. Examples of other real property improvements include acquisition, clearance or demolition, code enforcement, historic preservation, renovation of closed buildings, or handicapped accessibility. And lastly, examples of public services would include employment services, crime prevention and public safety, childcare, health services, fair housing counseling, education programs, or services for senior citizens. So this screen shows how the web address for you to access the Open Town Hall portal and where you can answer the survey questions. And the survey has been open since February 16th, and it will remain open until March 2nd at 4:30 p.m. So our next steps will be for town staff to complete the draft of the annual action plan based on input received. A 30-day comment period will be held to solicit comments on the draft plan. Public comments that are received will be included in the draft plan. And the proposed project will be discussed at the March 28th Community Services and Public Safety Committee meeting. Then the draft plan will be presented to Town Council on May 3rd, and the final plan will be submitted to HUD on or before the May 16th deadline date. So this concludes the slide presentation. I just want to reiterate that written comments can be submitted via the Open Town Hall portal until March 2nd. And now I'd like to stop my share screen. And I would like to ask Teresa if there have been any questions submitted via Facebook.
Marcy, there have not been any questions submitted via Facebook.
Okay, since there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the meeting with just one more reminder. If you are interested in submitting comments, please do so through the Open Town Hall portal. Again, that closes on March 2nd, and we will be reviewing those comments and including them in the draft of the plan. Thank you for your participation and have a good evening.